I'm going to talk for a minute about the exemptions that are available in bankruptcy. And by exemptions, we mean property that's off the table. The trustee, the creditors cannot touch the property, and you continue to own it post-bankruptcy. In discussing these, keep in mind that I'm giving you just generalities here, and in all of these different areas there are specifics. And if ever the phrase "the devil is in the details" is applicable, it's in bankruptcy law. So keep in mind that this is just a general overview of the primary exemptions that are available. Number one is probably the homestead exemption. Any equity you have in your homestead property is exempt, regardless of the amount. That used to be a big deal here in Florida. Over the last few years, equity in homes has almost become a rarity. Next would be IRA and pension money. Any monies that you've accumulated in an IRA, 401k, or other type of qualified retirement plan are exempt from the claims of creditors, regardless of the amount. You also have an earned income exemption, and that is any income that you have earned in the 6 months preceding the filing of the bankruptcy is exempt, essentially regardless of the amount. You have a Social Security exemption. Benefits that you are to receive or benefits that you have received from Social Security are exempt. However, the exemption for accumulated Social Security benefits is not absolute. There's language in the law that says the accumulated Social Security benefits that are reasonable and necessary to maintain your lifestyle. And the question always comes up, well, what does that mean? And that's part of the dangerous aspect of that is it depends on a case-to-case basis. So you can't guarantee that all accumulated Social Security benefits are exempt. You've got a personal property exemption. Personal property can both be tangible personal property, your clothes, your watch, your furniture, and it can be intangible property, such as cash, CDs, stocks and bonds that you own outside of an IRA or pension. The law on personal property exemption is that if you are not taking advantage of the homestead exemption, in other words, you're underwater in your house or you're renting, then you each spouse, if you're filing husband and wife jointly, each spouse has a total of $5,000 of personal property exemption. If you are taking advantage of homestead because you have equity in your home, then that personal property exemption is only $1,000 each. You also have an automobile exemption. Each person has $1,000 of automobile exemption. Now, so you have your personal property exemption and you have your automobile exemption. To the extent that you do not use the personal property exemption, you can roll it over and use it on the car. So in theory, between cars and personal property, you can have as much as $12,000 of exemptions. Now, the key element there becomes, well, how do we value this personal property? What value do we put on our clothes or our furniture? And the good news there is, generally speaking, I refer to it as garage sale, pawn shop value. It's not what you paid for it. It's not what you would have to pay if you went to the store to replace all your clothes. It's what would they be worth if you had a sale on Saturday and everything's got to go by sundown. And in that world, we would say generally that clothes are virtually worthless and furniture's not far behind. So $12,000 of personal property exemption for furniture, clothing, cars can cover an awful lot of ground. Finally, another critical exemption can be what we call tenancy by the entirety's property. Tenancy by the entirety's property is essentially property that a husband and wife own together as husband and wife. This exemption comes into play when only one of the spouses is filing. And I often explain it this way. In a marriage there are two people, but there are three property owners. There's the property that the husband owns, there's the property that the wife owns, and then there's this third property owner, and that's the husband and wife together as husband and wife. And if an individual is filing, let's say for example, only the husband is filing bankruptcy. So out of these three property owners, the creditors can only look to what the husband owns by himself. What the wife owns, we don't even list, because he has no ownership interest in that. And what the husband and wife own jointly, we list it, but we exempt all of it as tenancy by the entireties. So those are your fundamental exemptions in bankruptcy. And as I said in the beginning, each one of those has certain nuances and exemptions which can get real complicated. So it's very important that if you think you have these exemptions to apply, that you talk with a competent professional to make sure that they apply in your unique circumstances.